a major Knicks trade update as the asking price for one of their biggest targets has been revealed by Ian Begley, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump into the video as we always do because Ian Begley was recently breaking a bunch of stuff down, including the asking price for massive Knicks target Walker Kessler, someone I think that almost every single New York Knicks fan is interested in the Knicks acquiring. But it also comes down to asking price, knowing that he's on the Utah Jazz and that Utah Jazz general manager Danny Ainge, well, he'll want to milk everything he can out of the New York Knicks. So let's jump right into it to see what Begley had to say. Now, Begley was talking a lot about this and said the Knicks had been in touch with Utah. They had some interest in Walker Kessler as a potential solution at the backup five, but teams in touch with the Utah say the Jazz are looking for at least a first-round pick in return for Kessler in these conversations that have gone on earlier in the offseason. And then on top of that, Begley mentioned that teams have offered 2 first-rounders to Utah in the past a couple weeks, and they were rebuffed. Yeah, no kidding that Walker Kessler is worth a first-round pick. The man is a starting center on a championship-level team, or that's how good he can be. Honestly, I think he could be that today. Obviously, the Jazz are not a contending team. They are a Utah team, which is what I was about to say because I can't talk right now, but oh well. Look, here's the deal with the Jazz. They're not good. They're not going to get better anytime soon. They have Lauri Markkanen for no real reason at all. In my mind, the man is an excellent or fine enough third best player on a championship team. I'm not trying to bash Lauri. I just think that's where he stands as a player. He's the best player on the Jazz by a country mile. At one point, he was the best player on a Jazz team that was a first seed around almost 2 years ago now, which is shocking. It's been so long already that he's been on the Jazz. But outside of that, the Jazz are terrible. Jordan Clarkson's a good player. Walker Kessler's a very, very good center. Keontae George has really balled out as a player, but this is not Jazz Digest. Here's just a breakdown of what I'm saying. The Jazz have a few nice players, but they're not going to get better anytime soon. They need to rebuild, and the only way for them to rebuild is to trade Lauri Markkanen. And in the process, with Walker Kessler having 2 years left before he's due for a payday, maybe the Jazz don't want to pay Walker Kessler, and they want to have their books completely open so they could do a proper rebuild. Now, I don't think that makes sense. I don't think Walker Kessler is going to have a massive impact on whether the Jazz are really bad or not. I think he could elevate a great team, but he's not going to prevent a team from being bad, is what I'm saying. So that's something to be very aware of. But with Walker Kessler in mind, the New York Knicks are in a weird spot. Because, yeah, he'd be a perfect fit at the backup center. He could actually hit a mid-range also, which even adds to how awesome he would be. He gives amazing insurance if Mitchell Robinson goes down with an injury. There's a ton of reasons to like Walker Kessler. The one fear is the price. Now, first-round pick plus more, maybe that means the Knicks could trade Deuce McBride and a first for Kessler. I don't think I'd really want to do that personally. But the thing is, with drafting Tyler Kolek, with having Rokas Jokubaitis, who's now coming over to the Summer League, check out my video I did yesterday on that, yeah, Deuce is a bit more expendable. He's still the best player out of those three, and he's the only one with actual NBA playoff experience, so I don't think he's the one to move. Now, someone mentioned in the comments that maybe the Knicks should try to trade Rokas Jokubaitis in a first for Walker Kessler. Well, guess what? The Jazz aren't doing that because Deuce is far better than Rokas Jokubaitis is. That's the problem there. Now, if it was Rokas a second and a first, or Rokas 2 seconds and a first, maybe I'd be more open to doing that. But again, you have to consider, you get 2 years of Walker Kessler, and then, like Dante DiVincenzo, like Josh Hart, like Mikal Bridges, like Mitchell Robinson, Walker Kessler becomes a free agent, albeit restricted, but a free agent in 2026. That is a lot of 2026 free agents. It makes a lot of pressure for the Knicks to win an NBA Finals in the next 2 years, which is something to think about. It's something to be aware of. And also you have to ask yourself, do the Knicks really need Walker Kessler? If Mitchell Robinson stays healthy for the playoffs, if he's healthy in the playoffs, look, he's not going to play 82 games, and that's fine. No one does, except for Mikal. No one's going to play 82 games on the Knicks except Mikal and, I don't know, maybe Deuce McBride. But no one's really going to, and that's fine. Again, outside of Mikal, who just doesn't miss games, and Tibbs is going to love that. But if Mitch can play 55-plus games and be healthy for the playoffs, I'm happy with that. Okay, they'll have to start some backup center at some points in the regular season if Mitch gets hurt for a bit. I don't care as long as he's healthy in the playoffs like he was in 2023. He was phenomenal in the playoffs when he was healthy. It's not like Mitch has never been healthy in the playoffs before. It's not like it's impossible for Mitch to be healthy. He wasn't healthy this season. That sucks. He wasn't healthy a few years prior in 2021. That sucks. He was in 2022 and 2023. Now, you don't want to go, okay, well, 50% of the time in a season, he's not getting injured for the majority of a season. No, obviously that's not good. What I'm saying is it does give you some leeway that you don't need to go out and get Walker Kessler. There's cheaper options out there. Now, I love the idea of Nick Richards. I want to see the Knicks find a way to make that work out. But there's also the idea that you could go elsewhere. It's just the fact that Kessler is so good. I think so many Knicks fans have become married to this idea, especially when you look at the way he compares to Isaiah Hartenstein, because they're similar players. Look, I'm not going to go out here and be like, oh, Walker Kessler is far better than Hartenstein. He is a better defender. Hartenstein's better on offense because he creates more spacing through his high post playmaking. They're very similar when it comes to, like, I'd say where you'd rank them as top centers in the NBA. Kessler does have the majority of the statistic advantage. Now, also, Hartenstein has the playoff advantage and the fact that he performed for the Knicks in the playoffs very well. The problem with Hartenstein was that Embiid could run him right off the floor because he's thin. Walker Kessler is not the biggest boy either. He's tall, but he's not that, thick. He's not Mitchell Robinson, who's strong enough to be able to handle what Joel Embiid's going to throw at them. Now, at the same time, there are other options out there. So I did want to go into that for a bit, and we're going to do it. Now, Ian Begley did mention that the Knicks have been in touch with Precious Achiuwa, and he's drawn interest from several contenders. Begley believes that he has a couple offers on the table there, and we should see where he goes in the next few days. Now, I might do my own video on this or just wait until he makes that decision. It depends on when he does. But Begley did mention that Precious has received interest from several contenders, but he still does remain open to returning to the New York Knicks. So it's not like there's just no chance that they're going to lose Precious or get him back. It's very up in the air right now. And he put up 7.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, half a steal, and shot 50% from the field. So yeah, he's a very solid player. He's not Walker Kessler, and also there's the fear that he's undersized. But he does play bigger than his height. He's not the worst option in the world as your backup center. I think if Mitch were to get hurt, seriously hurt to where he's going to miss some time or you don't trust he's going to be healthy for the rest of the year, if that happens before the deadline, then yeah, the Knicks will probably go out there and make some move for more stability and more size at the center position so they're not rolling with just Precious and Jericho and then Ariel Hukporti, who's on a two-way contract. So everyone who keeps telling me, no, they're going to have Ariel Hukporti as their backup center. No, they're not. He is on a two-way contract. He can only play 44 games in the NBA next year unless they sign him after that two-way to a full guaranteed deal. And guess what? They're probably not going to do that because he was the last pick in the draft. I'm not trying to hate on Ariel Hukporti. I like the idea of picking a rim runner who seems somewhat NBA ready, but he was the 58th pick. He's not the Knicks' backup center. They're a contender. Contenders don't do that. I understand the Knicks have limited options. I get that. And I don't want to act like it's not worrisome, because it is. But there's options. Even if it's not Walker Kessler, which I don't think it will be, there's Nick Richards. There is bringing back Precious. There's waiting till the 2025 trade deadline and making a move there if you have to. The Knicks will have options. I understand it looks bleak right now with the backup center thing, but it's not like they have their hands tied behind their backs. They're not really going to have to deal with that second apron at all. They'll end up being in the first apron most likely, but it'll be fine. Brock Aller is a cap wizard. He is the Knicks assistant GM. He'll figure out how to make all the salaries work. I trust the Knicks front office. They're going to get it done. I assume at this point it's going to be Precious, but it could still be Nick Richards, and maybe there's a long shot that it's Walker Kessler, but Danny Ainge doesn't want to trade him to the Knicks. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Who's the backup center that you want to be the New York Knicks, especially when it comes to price? Are you willing to pay top dollar for Walker Kessler? Would you rather just re-sign Precious, or would you want to trade for Nick Richards, or something completely different, not Ariel Hukporti? And I don't want to be a hater on him. I'm really rooting for Ariel Hukporti, obviously. Excited to see him play in the Summer League. I don't want you guys to think I'm hating him. Guys, have a phenomenal day. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Go Knicks.